it seems like every so often something major, it never has ended fully, this type of situation, and how you always have to feel different when you walk out the house, or you don't feel like you could be yourself because of all these things. And every generation, something big like this happens where it puts it to light. Do you see the young people coming together again? And what could you get? Like, is there advice that you would give to people who don't know what to do?
I think what the young people have to, first of all, there's a limit to how much you're going to tell young people. You know what I mean? Because there was a limit to how much you could tell us, because we were the ones out there on the streets, you know, having things affect us all the time. But we're not in that same time, because we're getting hit doubly. We're getting hit with a virus that has taken out hundreds of thousands of people of color, primarily. You know, it's hit us disproportionately. And it's not just hit the youth, it's hit our grandparents, it's hit our mothers and fathers, you know, it's hit our, you know, our great grandfathers, our aunts and cousins. And so the youth have been just as important in keeping that from affecting the older generation. And I haven't seen anything that necessarily just ties them instantly. Like, you have to put this mask on so you don't bring this home to your moms. You can't smoke this blunt, you know, and pass this around. You know what I mean? Like, there's like some things that you just can't do right now. You know what I mean? You can't just sneak out and go over here and go hang out and then come back over here. No, like, this is a time where you got to get real disciplined, and you already stressed out, and it's graduation time, and you miss your friends, and you're a teenager, and you're hormonal, and all these things are happening at once. Yeah. But this too shall pass. So don't think this is the end of the world. Take this as a beginning. Take it as an opportunity to take your world. This is your world. Take over. You know, get involved in the process. Get registered to vote so you can get rid of the people that are not prosecuting these cases, that are allowing these things to happen to you, that are not checking, you know, that are supporting elected officials who would let you get your head knocked in. You know, get them out of here too. Get these bums out of here with your vote. But then continue to connect with each other. You know, continue to come up with great ideas. You are the future. Share with each other. Network with each other. Don't try to keep it all to yourself. You have to share with each other so that everybody can move forward. You know, and the rest of the things is really up to us to support them on. You know, we have to just continue to pass on the information and just let them know, yo, every dollar you spend is a piece of power. Right. You know, so don't just spend your money with people who don't support you, who don't care about you. You know, this whole thing, I've had such a wonderful working relationship with Mark Pritchard because he cares about people. He cares about even listening to his own employees and understanding that we have work to do. What a valuable asset to have someone like that who controls billions of dollars in advertising say to you, I want to help you tell your stories. Right. I want you to be involved. Please bring more women. Please bring more diversity. I know we have work to do. Let's do it. You know, so people can come up with cool campaigns, and they need to be a part of telling stories through their own lens. There's no reason that only 10% of the media you see is directed by women.
So can you break it down briefly for people? Because again, this is the second year that you're doing this. What is the Queen Collective exactly? What are we going to see this year that differed from last year?
So the Queen Collective is a partnership with Procter & Gamble and Tribeca Studios. Mark Pritchard and Mark is the Chief Brand Officer for P&G. And I used to be a cover girl, you know, for a very long time. And we were at a women's summit, and it was a really huge deal, this thing. A lot of big people there, big audience. And one of the things we realized after that was we have to do something to change the way women are portrayed in front of the camera as well as behind the camera, particularly behind the camera, the representation. So we came up with the Queen Collective we wanted to give women an opportunity to tell their stories, to shoot their films, to become directors and producers. And so we partnered up with Tribeca, who has curated so many people. You know, they have so many people's stories and so many people connect with them, that we figured that was a great way for us to find stories to tell, as well as to find the mentorship that would be a part of that. And Tribeca has been amazing. So we all come together and we get all these treatments, and then we got to pick from like dozens and dozens of treatments, which is the hardest part. But we came down to 2, and the directors are Sam Knowles and Nadine Nator and Ogona Opaloka. And the stories are called Gloves Off, which tells the story of a young female police officer who wants to be a boxer, Black woman, young Black female police officer who wants to be a professional fighter. And the things that she goes through as a young officer, from her own community, seeing the different sorts of challenges and having experienced, police brutality in her own youth and in her own community, but then deciding to become a police officer to try to affect change. Right. But also facing discrimination as a young boxer, because of the color of her skin, watching the difference, the attention paid to other people who didn't look quite like her, even though she was the better fighter. So very interesting story to tell there, and interested to see from her point of view. Then we tell the story, then we talk about Tangled Roots. And Tangled Roots is about hair discrimination, which many people have experienced in the workplace, and a woman who was trying to get a bill introduced to stop it in Kentucky. And so just trying to get her bill heard on the floor and all of the challenges she's facing. And of course, there's so many bills. One might think, what do you mean a bill about hair discrimination? Well, you have to see what lies beneath. It's not just about discriminating against your hairstyle or telling you in order to get a job, you have to cut your hair or wear your hair a certain way. It's about removing your culture in a lot of ways. It's about homogenizing. It's about making you fall in line. And it's a deeper, it's deeper than the hair. And which, I'm sorry, you can talk, but I'm sure you can relate to.
No, I can relate to it. That's happened before. I've had a mohawk before. I've had to cut it before. I was on camera at another job previous to this. I'm grateful to be where I'm at because they do accept my hair. They're allowing me to do what I want to do. But I appreciate these stories that you're telling because it resonates with me, especially just being a woman of color, being out there and doing things. And I think not just now it will resonate, it'll continue on that story. People will understand what you're trying to tell. And there's so many layers to it. So I get it.
And it's really cool to see the story told from a Black female legislator's point of view. Right. She is introducing legislation. So we're also seeing the political process. And I think it's so timely that we see stories like this. And this is going to be on the 13th on BET. Both of these films will air. So please tune in to BET on the 13th to check them out at 9:00. And I think it's so interesting to see these stories told right now because we get at this time, whoa, oh my God, what a time, but at this time to see different points of view, to see a police officer speaking, a young Black female cop, when we're seeing cops on the street having to interact with the people, with our citizens, and how that interaction is happening. And some of that interaction is very, very heavy-handed, and some of that interaction is very hands-off, and some of that interaction is less walk together. There's so many different ways to go about policing, and to see this story, and this was filmed long ago, last year, so it's not like she got to be, these stories were a part of what's happening right now, but they're relevant right now, so to see also a legislator who's dealing with a pretty much white male majority in the state house, just try to introduce this bill, just try to get this bill heard, just to get it introduced, and how challenging that is.
Right.
So it shows you why we need to be a part of every part of our political process, not just who's president, but why our local elections are so very important, and why voting is going to be so very important, that you got to get registered to vote. You got to get in there. You know, it's about your councilman, it's about your mayor, you know, your alderman, your state senators. It's not just about the president and the two senators from your state, you know, or your Congress people. It's about your DA. It's about your inspector generals. It's about everybody. So there's so many places you get to vote. And it's even about how your ballots look. Sometimes I look at these ballots, I'm like, whoa, where you print this at? I need a class to even decipher what the hell I'm reading, you know? So all those things are important. And so these stories and having these stories told by these women is going to be fantastic. And just looking at the difference that happens when you put a woman behind the camera and who she hires, and looking at, you know, almost half the people are women or people of color on these sets. This is the change that we want to affect, you know? It's like, you make the difference. When you the boss, you get to hire who you want.
I'm gonna say you're able to let these women shine and tell their stories, again, resonating with so many people who don't get to. It starts with a lot of people too, young girls who want to do this behind the camera, and then the ones even in the front want to have their story told, and they haven't had that told or that opportunity. So thank you for doing this. I know you had said before we started talking about the Queen Collective that someone you looked up to was Light, obviously. You are now that mentor person for these women and for others to look at. And you've been that person. I think even since the beginning of your career, you've always fought for what you believed in, and you were always vocal about it. Knowing that you have that right now with these young women and giving them that opportunity, and you guys are working together, are you learning from them? Are you seeing more too out of yourself?
I learn every day in every way. And I also learn from the men around me. I've been fortunate I came around a bunch of guys, but I also have been supported by a bunch of men, including my partner, Shakim, who's been with me every step of the way since high school, you know, and I think it's important that we all do this together, you know, but we women I've always wanted us women to stand together. And that's what Ladies First was about. You know, it was about, let's do this together. And even the video, when I shot the video, I wanted every female rapper I knew, I put the call out, yo, please come jump in this video. Let's do this together. Let's show our unity. You know, we can battle later, you know, but on this one day, we gonna let everybody know it's Ladies First. And we're all in this, not just me, you know? So, and Light was a big inspiration for that, you know. Her rapping about different things and having strength and being like 16 years old at the time, which was my age bracket, somebody young expressing their voice, that meant a lot to me, you know. Right. And I think so now it's just about supporting and encouraging the youth of today to use their various platforms to express themselves honestly and connect with other people who feel like they do, you know, and make sure they continue to have their voices heard.
I know that Newark, New Jersey's home. That's the home. How proud are you?
Orange, Irvington, Illtown, what up? No. Chilltown, JC.
How proud are you of your city for what you're seeing? Because they are doing so much positive right now too, and trying to stay safe as much as possible out there.
I am extremely proud of Newark, New Jersey, our mayor, Ross Baraka. My parents knew his parents, you know, I've been cool with his family members, his sister. Like, I mean, this is a mayor who truly is of the community, you know, and has truly been a part of the community and has been trying to make sure that the community is always going to be a part of Newark. That people aren't forgotten and left behind as our city grows and develops, you know? And that's what we see happen too many times. But this mayor does not want that for our town. And he's been very helpful to me, even with the development that I've been working on for years. But, you know, seeing that someone cares about the property that's not right there in the downtown area, you know, that's a little closer to, a little deeper in the hood. I love the hood. You know, we want to go, we want to see, to have great grocery stores. You know, we want to have nice movie theaters. You know, we've always wanted that investment in our community. And so we have to invest in our own communities. We got to come back and do it. That was one of the things I love to watch Magic do. You know, yeah, put that store in the hood, put that movie theater in Harlem, you know, put that Starbucks right there. I mean, you know, this was what we wanted. You know, we wanted to have that as well as our local businesses. We want to support them, right. You know, so, but I think, you know, it's still an important time to make sure we have the right people in office, people like Roz, because we have to make sure that we are part of all these federal dollars that come down. You know, a lot of people weren't included, people who look like us, who really helped rebuild the economy after that housing bubble, weren't even included in this. These federal dollars that came down. It was like the people who were in the know and who knew somebody snatched up the money and hid it, you know, and, you know, forgot about everybody else. And it's just like that sense of selfishness, that sense of greed is something that we have to root out, but you don't root that out by thinking about yourself. You have to always think, you know, what could I do for my neighbor? You know, what's the point of me eating if my cousins can't eat? I always felt like that. You know what I mean? What's the point of my kids being able to have a great education if my cousins' kids can't have a great education? You know, or my friends' kids can't have a great education? You know, it makes no sense. And ultimately, if we're all getting a great education, we all have an opportunity to move our entire world into a better place. You know what I'm saying? Like it should be a no-brainer, but it's not a no-brainer for those who want to keep money in the power.
No, I was gonna say, you just saying that too is like, it's been hard for me to talk about so much too, because I look and I had a conversation with my parents for 3 hours. Like, it should be so simple. It's very simple what needs to change, what needs to happen, and common sense. I don't want to say simple in the fact that it's like we could just press a button and it changes, but it's so much common sense of, okay, if we do this, it will expand to others, it will change things. But like you said, not
the problem is that there are people who don't want things to change.
That's true.
They don't want things to change. There are a small segment of people who want to hold on to the world's wealth, and they're greedy. They're just greedy people, and they've always been greedy people around for thousands of years. And there's always been people to rise up and fight against that. And we just have to continuously do it. And yeah, it's exhausting, but we have a life. We have breath in our lungs. Right. People like George Floyd do not have breath in their lungs anymore. Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, they don't have breath in their lungs anymore. So stop your whining, you know, and let's do something. Because if not for us, then let's do it for them. You know, let's do it for them and all the people, you know, that have fallen. All the people who never realized they had to be soldiers are fallen soldiers in this war against racism, white supremacy, sexism, classism, especially classism, you know, gender inequality. You know what I mean? You're seeing like an explosion of all of this frustration raise up, and we need to take moments like this. This is a, you know, disparity in our healthcare system. You know, we need to take this moment and really try to bond with each other. You know, bond on the right side of history and really try to affect some change. So I just say more power to the youth, because they're the ones who they're the ones who got good knees and can be out there running and walking. That's right. Let's go. You know, we got to take them youngins and go, hip, do it. Let's go. You got it. You got it. Pass that baton to them and just let them know we got your back. We support you. And just remember, everything that you do is worth $1. So make sure that you support people who support you.
Absolutely. Oh, so well said. You're going to start making me cry, because I'm talking to you. I was so excited to sit here and have this conversation with you. I didn't know where it would go, but I appreciate your words on that. And just you saying all these things and the differences and sexism and racism and all that too. I really appreciated your role. And I thought I was going to talk to you when I was doing the Netflix show, Hollywood.
Ah.
I watched that in one sitting.
Oh, wow.
I didn't get up. Hattie McDaniel's, how you played her, that role, and not knowing her full, like just even everything that happened behind the scenes, beyond all that, and her career. How good did that feel to be able to portray her on that screen too, and to have Ryan Murphy do something, because he flipped the script on everything, on gender, on sex, everything, race, everything.
That's what made the story interesting to me from the beginning. I was like, oh, that's when he explained what the concept was. I mean, he called me, on a Friday, and we were shooting that next week. And things don't usually happen that quickly. And I was like, okay. But the whole concept of it, a what if things had been different? What if this turn would have been made instead of that? What if this chance would have been given that was an opportunity taken away before? I thought that was an interesting idea. And fortunately, the costumer who I worked with when I played Ursula on the Little Mermaid Live used to do, he was a tour guide for Hattie McDaniel tours. He did tours to her house. So he was able to not only dress me perfectly for her, but to tell me all about her, to really inform my performance, to really give me information about her. And I thought, wow, this is divine, that this came out of nowhere. And this is who I'm working with, who has all this wealth of knowledge on this amazing woman. But there's so many stories like that, and I'm hearing that more Hattie McDaniel stories are coming. So I hope to see more about her. But it's important that we continue to tell these stories, because people don't know, a lot of people just don't know. And unfortunately, some people don't care. And you have to literally rip the town up to get them to pay attention. Yeah. And I don't like to see that, because I know some people people who work so hard business is already struggling, and to see some things people work so hard to build, just like, burn or crumble or get looted, that's always hard to watch. But it's not harder than watching someone's life being slowly taken away. It's not harder than watching somebody being stalked and shot with a shotgun, fighting for their lives, and, so again, we have breath in our lungs and we have life. And so as long as we have opportunities like this, we have to, try to help in whatever way we can. And so for me, a little way is just this Queen Collective, and just knowing that giving these directors an opportunity is going to give other people opportunities, because I know how they're going to hire. They're going to hire a diverse group of people behind the lens that will give them more experience to then go on and work and to tell their own stories, and it's not that we're telling people what stories to tell, we just want to give them an opportunity to tell their story, period. Yeah. So that people don't get the idea that it's all like this, time to take that off, take those blinders off. You know what I mean? Open your eyes, look around you, look around you, look at the people around you, ask a few more questions, be a little more thoughtful. And then if nothing else, be compassionate. Right. Be compassionate for people, have some compassion. Don't be so closed hearted. Don't think everything is not about a dollar, or is it? And if it is, then you know what, y'all, make your dollars make sense, But if it's about your heart, please open up your hearts. Don't become so hardened.
No, I appreciate every single word. And also, again, Queen Collective, BET. June 13th.
That's right.
It is, and I also have to congratulate you. One of my favorite films. Saw them a million times, and that was the first time I ever talked to Denzel. Equalizer. Congratulations. I was gonna say, what's that right hook look like right now?
Ain't gonna come like pow. You know what I mean? It's gonna be like boom. Like, pow.
Was this? I know
a couple of these.
I know you got to get out of here, but was this something?
But mostly that.
That you were looking forward to? Did you know about this prior to them creating it? Were they looking for you? Did you look for them? Like, how did it happen? Have you talked to Denzel at all about this?
I called Denzel and I haven't gotten to talk to him, probably because he's shooting the next Equalizer. Yeah, so this is so the Equalizer was a TV show first. Right. It was a TV show that was out in the 80s. So this is a little different than the one that Denzel is going to be. Of course, Denzel has now made famous in the films. And, you know, I'm by no means D. You know what I mean? D is D. Everybody knows D is D. And D do what D do. You know what I mean? And I'm going to be watching those movies right with everybody else. But this is a way that we can this is sort of a recreation of the television show. But it's my version, you know, it's got to be a version that, you know, the idea of being able to exact justice, especially in this time, and this was before this even happened, you know, I love the idea of being an equalizer, to balance the scales, you know, for regular people, not for just people with money or privilege, but for regular everyday people, to use these amazing skill set that my character Robin McCall is going to have to fight for the everyman, if you will. I love the idea of doing that. Plus, I get to kick some ass, be a badass, you know, use some of this training that my father raised me with as a tactical guy, you know what I mean, and really just and have a family story as well, because I have a daughter in this show, a teenage daughter. So I love the idea of everything I get to do with this, and it's Chris Noth and it's Lorraine Toussaint, and they're both brilliant actors. So I'm really hoping that together we can, with the rest of the cast, we can just create some magic. But I'm just hoping that we get to just tell some really important stories, and we're still trying to figure out how to even tell these stories in a post-COVID world, and how do we tell these stories? What stories are we going to tell? So as producers, we are definitely kicking around so many different things. So it's gonna be a challenge, but it's gonna be a fun challenge. I signed up. They said Equalizer. I said yes. It literally happened that quickly. I don't know what the hell happened to me that day. My partner Shot was like, "What did you just say? Snap out of it." I was playing, but it just sounded so exciting, getting the Equalizer.
I know. I'm ready. I'm ready.
I'm ready to equalize. I'm in the gym. You know what I'm saying? I'm in the gym.
I see you.